Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. It's a pleasure being with you today because I've got two really important tips that I want to go over with you in today's video. Now, look, for the most part, this is going to refer mostly to those trainers, you guys that are doing small group training. Now, the first one I'm going to mention to you is actually for either one-on-one trainers or small group trainers. But the second one is going to be more directed towards small group training, and you're going to understand why. So tip number one, and what this comes down to, I'll give you a little intro before I hit you with these two, right? I'll keep you guessing a little bit. What this comes down to is trying to help people to get through the workout without even thinking that they actually went through a workout. Now, keep in mind, the average client, I'm talking about between your 35, 45, 50, somewhere in that age bracket, those type of individuals that can afford your training prices, and it should be like that, by the way. Those individuals, for the most part, they generally make a correlation between exercise, working out, and physical pain. I'm not saying that there's not physical pain, but what I like to do is I like to call it discomfort. So we don't want to make that connection. We don't want to allow people to really get caught up in the, oh man, I don't want to work out because it hurts and it's painful scenario. Fact of the matter is you've got to train people and you've got to progress them to where they're training pretty hard. Now, of course, the first time a client comes in, you're not going to train them hard, I hope. But as people progress through, we want to keep them coming in and exercising and training, obviously. So if people start making this sort of mental connection between physical pain and exercise, it just makes it easier for them to not show up. Or when they're feeling tired or whatever the case is, to not come in for a workout. We know consistency is critical. So these two things are really, really important to help your clients to not forget that it's painful, but to make it through a little bit quicker without thinking about it so much. So these top two things, I'm not saying they're the only things, but these are the top two things I want you to keep in mind. First, the most important thing that you as a trainer, you should be doing when you're training people, particularly small group, right? Particularly small group. This is the one, by the way, where it's more small group than one-on-one. Small group training, you need to move around while you're training people. You're in a coaching scenario, whether it's 2 people or 5 people. One of the single most important things you can do is move around. It acts as almost a distraction. There's almost an energy element to this that most people don't even realize you're giving to them. By you moving around, do not stay put in one spot and sit there and tell people, great, 5 more, keep it going. Good job. Yeah, everybody. Good, fantastic. Don't do that, folks. Don't do that. You need to move around. When you start your sets, just as a, for instance, 3, 2, 1, everybody go, and they're doing squats or dumbbell curls, it doesn't matter. What you need to do is immediately start walking and moving around and watching your clients, looking at them and moving. By doing that, it acts as a distraction in one sense. Now, I'm not saying you get up in their faces or anything like that, but when you're moving around and watching, that's an element of the coaching component that we talk about at Body Design University that is so critical. Okay. Again, there's a subtle feeling of energy, subtle feeling on your clients. You know how I know this, by the way? You're wondering how I know this, because I've asked my clients. And over the years, I ask them, I'll just kind of mention it to them. Is it an issue for me to walk around? Do you notice? And they'll go, yeah, I just kind of notice you walk around. Or some clients go, I don't even notice it because it hurts while I'm doing the exercise. The point is that instead of standing there, you have to sort of represent this energetic, and I'm not saying jump around, I'm saying move around, walk around. And as you're doing that, I want you to do the number 2 thing. And this works for both small group training and for one-on-one training. Okay. And that is don't let it go silent for too long. So here's what I found over the years, is particularly when I was doing one-on-one training. If when I start a set, and I'm doing 15, 20, 25, 30 reps in most cases on most exercises, unless it's a heavy, a heavy resistance type of exercise. But for the most part, I'm doing a lot of muscle endurance training for my clients. It's probably the best way to do it. Over the years, that's what I found. But the longer I go without saying anything, when there's like dead silence between you and your client in a one-on-one scenario, it just feels, it feels like it's never going to end. And your clients need to know that there's an end coming. One of the ways you help and distract your client is by verbalizing motivation. Okay, keep it going. Great job. Okay, we've got 30 seconds left. Keep it moving. Good. Get up to the fantastic. Squeeze at the top. Excellent. Go down slow. Move it. Boom. Keep going. Good. And I start to talk. Now in a group setting where I've got 3 people, 4 people, or 5 people, now when I'm walking around and I'm verbally coaching people, okay, what that does is that jacks up the energy level in the entire group. It also ensures that I'm getting everybody on the same sheet of music. Everybody, let the weight down slowly. Everybody, smooth and controlled. Okay, folks, you got 10 seconds left. Everybody do, and that's what I'll say over and over and over. 2 things: move around and continue to talk. Now, I say that with a little bit of trepidation, because now you're probably thinking, well, what he wants me to do is just keep talking and blabbing on. No, it's not what I'm asking you to do. That second tip simply means that there should be no longer than anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds of dead silence. You should always be sort of inputting some sort of verbal motivation, some sort of verbal cue to help your clients through the set that they're performing. Now, look, if you're doing 8 repetitions, okay, the set's probably done fairly quickly, and they're dying anyway, but you're still wanting to provide some verbal cueing and motivation as you're doing it. Remember, in a one-on-one training scenario where I'm spotting somebody, I want to make sure that I'm telling them throughout the entire set proper technique, proper form, slow the movement down on the negative, pause at the bottom, keep going, great job. And I do it in such a way that it feels organic, that while they're doing the movement, the exercise, whatever it is, they feel that my verbiage, my motivation is directly tied to the performance. Again, if I stand there and I don't do anything, number one, it's low energy, so that's no good. And then the other thing is that there's no connectivity. And I want to make sure I'm constantly connecting with my client while they're doing the set. Obviously, you've got to know your client. Some of your clients, again, obviously might not want all that verbal interaction. I've had clients tell me that, you don't have to keep talking to me while we're training. I've literally had clients tell me that, and I'm like, okay, gotcha, ready, go. Yeah, I've done that. But those clients are so few. There's so few of them. 99.99% of all the clients I've trained in both one-on-one and small group settings, oh no, they appreciate it because it distracts them from the discomfort and the pain. Remember, you're coaching people as much as you're training/coach. It's critical that you get that. Those are your top 2 things that you must do all the time. That's why it takes energy to be an effective personal trainer. Please utilize those 2 tips when you're training folks. I guarantee you that for the most part, they're going to appreciate it. Always remember, if you have questions, you let us know. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't to our YouTube channel. Click on the bell, obviously, and you can get the notifications for new content. If you're watching this in our Facebook group, put your comments in there. Please let us know what it is we can help you with when it comes to being the best, simply the best personal trainer that you can be out in the industry. As always, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Thanks.